Hey there. Greetings, everyone. Let's talk about how to get authors to beg you to write content for you for free. And let's talk about how to do that exactly. It's actually much more simple than you think. And it is also, well, for the most part, it's free unless you decide that you want to pay for certain services, none of which I am selling, by the way. So you're not buying anything from me. This is all free information for you to be able to use for growing your presence, not only online, but offline. Welcome, Falcus. We're talking about how to get authors to beg you to write content for you for free. And why would you want to do something like that? And how, right? So let's talk about, we'll talk about why, and we'll talk about how. And when I talk about how, I'm going to be talking only specifically about how it's exactly happened for me, which it happened for me not by accident, but to some people, it probably might seem like it because it looks effortless if you're not paying attention to the details. But it takes a little bit of maintenance, and it takes a little bit to get things going. So, all right, let's take a look here. I am making sure that my settings are good here, just to make sure that if anybody decides they want to call in, they can. Welcome, Joanne Law. And let's see. So yes, get authors to beg you to write content for you for free, for your website, for a newsletter, online or offline. And so let's take a look at how, I got to plug in I'm outside of a Starbucks. One of the, it sucks. I boycotted Starbucks some years ago. For some reasons I'm not going to get into. Well, maybe I will, but not right now. And so I'm out here right now because I'm a vagabond, and I'm a, people talk about, what do you call it? The digital nomads. I'm more like a digital vagabond. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm a nomad. It's the same thing, I suppose, except I think the difference between a vagabond and a nomad, people would argue that a vagabond doesn't have a choice, whereas a nomad does. So maybe I'm a vagabond nomad. I have a choice, but I choose to roam around because it's awesome. By the way, if you guys have ever traveled, traveling is quite the fantastic adventure. Expands your brain, mind, and all that good stuff. So right away, let's see. I am going to just tell you right now, right away, how you can get authors or other content creators of any kind to basically beg you to write content for you for free. So are you ready to hear it? It's so simple, it's so easy. If you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it because it sounds ridiculous. Ridiculously easy, that is. And all it is by creating a website that is considered an authority site. Yeah, so how do you do that? How do you create an authority site? Well, there are several ways to do that. I opted for the easiest one, which is to just start a site, a simple blog site. The most popular one, of course, everybody knows about is WordPress. And I just simply started writing content on there about what I'm doing. I'm basically, one of the hats that I wear is I'm a journalist. And if you must know, what a journalist actually is, it's one who journals. So if you keep a journal, you're a journalist. Now, whether you get paid for that or not, or whether anybody sees it, that's a different story, right? You can be a journalist and nobody could see anything that you're journaling about. Wow, what kind of exhaust system was on that vehicle? And so, yes, Mr. 2 Extra, SL, Suzanne, Anna Reyes, Country Lady, EMJ, welcome. And so the thing here is, what I basically did was just start journaling, and it's a process that I've repeated over and over again, and I'm actually doing it right now on the Wisdom app, which is I basically go in and I go on a frenzy of content creation, but meaningful content creation that's helpful to people, because you're going to be crickets. I mean, look, even right now, a lot of my social media and other things seem like it's just chirping crickets around there. You don't see a lot of engagement. And I want to make a note about that. There are different metrics for whether or not, there are different metrics for things that you want to look at for whether you have a nonprofit, if you're a volunteer, if you're somebody who's just helping people, or if you're a for-profit business, or in general want to get awareness and attention towards something that you're doing, which eventually, of course, if you're running a business, the end goal, the most important metric, welcome Noble Ron, the most important metric is usually when a sales transaction happens, meaning when money comes from your customers, clients, donors, and things like that. Anybody who gives you money for some reason, or gives you resources, right? Because this doesn't have to always be money. You know, for example, I'm helping with something called the Veterans Club Racing Association, and we don't necessarily just need money to operate this nonprofit. We need a venue, which I just recently, my business partner doing that, Chris Cavallo of Cavallo Creations, he just got a venue that said they're willing to help out in any way that they can for veterans, and this organization is a restaurant and runs food trucks, and that's just exactly what we need, is the food to do our monthly breakfast and things like that. And so that's kind of similar to what's been happening with me. See, these authors that come and write on my site, and the site I'm talking about, the site in question, if you would like to reference that, it's exercisingyourmind.com. So exercisingyourmind.com. Maybe I should, you know what, I think I can, and I will put the link to that site. I'll put the full link, because it's actually a subdomain on one of my main sites that I don't even use the main site's name yet, which that's another strategy that I've been using, by the way. I haven't used my best site name quite yet, because, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Whoa. Okay, hold on. I can't put that site in here. So the authors have been contributing to my website for free for at least the past 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years without question. Just basically saying, hey, can I have this article, I'd love to write it for your site. Your readers will love it. And why would they do that? Why would anybody want to provide free content to my site? Oh yeah, I think I was able to update it here. Let me save it. You should see it pop up there, exercisingyourmind.com. There you go. And I'm going to stylize that actually the way that I usually do everything, with some capital letters, so you can read it a little bit easier. All right. And the thing here is, I said you have to develop or build an authority website. Welcome Lori, welcome Kristen, welcome Bree, Chris, Thomas, Alexandra. We're talking about how to get authors to beg you to write content for you for free. And I'm talking about one of my sites, at least exercisingyourmind.com. There are at least 4 other sites that these authors contribute to. On exercisingyourmind.com, if you go to with the link that says Creative and Crew, you'll see a list of the people who contribute to my site, all the authors and their respective websites. And you'll see that they're all kind of similar. Because basically what I believe is happening here is that so my site is considered an authority site. There are several of them that have that designation from things like Google and other search engines that index websites and the content that's therein and how that's presented to other people. So Google, for example, sees my site as a trusted authority site because one, it's been online since 2007. Two, when people click on a link on Google when they're doing a search or whatever for a particular subject that may be written on my site, and they go to the site, it's there. Go figure. Go figure. How crazy is that? That when people look for stuff that I say is on my site, they find exactly that on the site. No clickbait, no weird stuff going on there. And then speaking of weird stuff going on there, that's the next part. When people go to my site, not only does it take them to what it says they're going to after they click on a search engine and they find my site, but there's no crazy stuff on there. There's no there's no porn or like spammy, like, use Viagra things or whatever. It goes exactly to what it says, and there's no tricks or anything like that. And that's just been the way it has been since 2007. And when I first started, every once in a while I was publishing my own content, but for the most part, I was just copying and pasting stuff that I got from my email that was interesting to me. But at the time, because my email box was limited, I copied and pasted things, sometimes on a frenzy, like 100 things in one day, and put it in my website with the proper attributions to where it came from. And it was just sort of like acting like a news site. Like, for example, if you don't know this, for news outlets, a lot of them go to something like, for example, the Associated Press. And that's why when you look across a lot of media channels, you'll see them repeating and saying the exact same things, like the exact same taglines. And you'll see people who are more conspiracy theory minded, like how I used to be, for example, and maybe still am, but I'm just not as zealous about it. I have my suspicions about a lot of things, but they're more grounded in an art and a science, which is hypnosis, hypnotherapy, clinical hypnosis. And so I tend to use hypnoanalysis to look at a lot of the things that are out there. So, and that's one of the things I did. I just repurposed content. Basically, the internet for me has always been, and still remains to a large extent, a notebook for me to take down things that are interesting to me and to make it so that it's available in case someone that I know happens to ask a question about something or wants more information, because I am a communicator. I communicate a lot. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Welcome to the room, sir. Glad you showed up here. Let me invite you up just in case you're going to talk today. Where the heck what's going on, Chris? And so, Mr. Chris, wait, I'll find that out in a second. Oh, wait, what happened here? Oh, let me just get back on track here for a second. My friend Chris, whenever he shows up, I get excited. He's my good friend. Oh, there he goes. All right. So it's an authority site, number one. When people search for something and it comes up on, like they search a subject like tips on how to take care of yourself as a caregiver, right? They type in caregiver, they type in self-care, whatever. And if that comes up and they click on it and it goes to my site, that's exactly what they're going to get. And then there's no questionable links that the authors put into those articles. I read each and every single one of them myself and vet all of the links. So those are a few things. Now, hey, Daryl. Now, it might seem difficult. People say, well, man, it's 16 years. Your website has been on. That's how you got an authority site. How do I do that? And I just said 16 years, even though exercisingyourmind.com has been on since 2007. So that's technically 15. But the original site, hypnoathletics.com, has been on for 16 years. And that one's not as popular because the name is Hypnoathletics. But Exercising Your Mind is a really popular, it has really highly searched keywords, exercising and your mind, things like that. So putting those together makes also for a highly valuable site in the first place. So Rodney, Kathleen, Mojo, welcome. And so those are one of the things. Now that's the long way, sort of like in real estate, where there's something in investing in general where you hold things for a long time. It's a long game, right? You hold on to something for a long time and you maintain it and you keep it. And over time, there'll be ups and downs in the value and things like that. But after a while, it'll start to hold a consistent type of value where it becomes desirable just because it's formidable. It's been there for a while. It has tenure. And on the internet, this kind of thing matters, having something online for a long time. Now, I've also been able to cause other sites to get cleared as authority sites because I link out to them, and it's called authority backlinking. Hello, Lulu Baby and Adam Ripley. It's called authority backlinking. And when you do authority backlinking, like for my site links out to some of these other places, it shows that those are also safe places to go since they're linking out from my site. So that's another thing. Here's an offer and an ask. If anybody wants to increase their search engine optimization with writing, and you have things that you want to get out there that you want more people to see, you can always submit stuff to my website at HAK at UniquilibriuM.com or Hakeem at hypnoathletics.com. But so that's one way, and that's the reason why these authors are begging me to write content for my site, and they do it for free. They do it for free because they know that whoever they're working for, whoever their client is that's asking them to make sure that there's more eyeballs get to the content that they want, they put it on my site because that's another thing. Welcome Unminding Project and Pastor Michael Ritchie. So that's another thing. My content, I'm always putting up new content on the sites. So for example, on exercisingyourmind.com, there was something just published yesterday or 2 days ago, and I'm about to publish something right now, which is one of the reasons why I popped on here, because I was just inspired. One of my authors got back to me. And so, yeah, August 22nd, 2 days ago, an article was published on exercisingyourmind.com by Camille Johnson. And it was 6 helpful tips to help you survive and thrive during recession. Oh my gosh. So there's so much to say about this, right? So the other thing that I was going to get to was that there's constantly fresh content being popped up on my sites, either by me or by another author, or by another content creator, I should say. I'll just use from now on the word creator, okay? Because most of these people are writing content, but they are also, generally creators of all kinds. And so there's always fresh content. So that's another thing that search engines like is fresh content. So there's something new. Oh, wow, there's something new. And it's on an authority website, and it's relevant content, and there's nothing spammy about it. And it's, so one, have an authority website.
And then,
right? So one's having the authority website, either having it online for a long time, or you could pay for a bunch of SEO specialists to get a bunch of eyeballs to go to your site, and so that people know that your website can be trusted, basically, even if you don't have SSL certificates. So case in point, I have a brand new site called HAKEYM.com, which are based off of the first HAK is, of course, the first 3 letters of my first name, but also is an acronym for Hakeem Alexander Communications. And EYM, if you didn't guess, is Exercising Your Mind. And so I just made a site, HAKEYM, .com. And I put that up there, and there's no SSL. So when you visit the site, you will see a little triangle in the corner that basically says not secure, right? And if you click on it, it says your connection to this site is not secure. Wait, let me read it like a robot, or because these are bots doing this, right? Somebody programmed in there. Your connection to this site. What? Your connection to this site is not secure. You should not enter any sensitive information on the site. For example, passwords or credit cards, because it could be stolen by attackers. Learn more. And then, there's cookies. There's cookies on my site. Site settings and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I could do all that stuff.
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more? Hey, isn't that from Starship Troopers? Would you like to know more?
It sure is.
And so besides that, so now you have you have an authority site. You've got fresh content being popped up on there all the time. All the links are going out to also other things that are authority sites. Like, for example, if you guys click on the website, Exercising Your Mind, Wealth Attraction Research. Listen, I'm going to go on the latest article by Camille Johnson, 6 helpful tips to help you survive and thrive during a recession. The first thing that she writes in there, the word recessions is hyperlinked. And it hyperlinks out to Investopedia. So now Investopedia is an established website. So not only are people contributing content to my site, but they're linking out to things like Investopedia. The second link on there says set a workable budget. When you click on that, it goes out to a site, thebalance.com. And I'm pretty sure that site is not anywhere near as established as mine. It's pretty generic. And you know what? Another thing that my site does not have, because I bootstrap and pay for everything myself, it doesn't have any ads on it. There are no ads on my site. When you go there, oh, that's the most annoying thing ever. You ever want to read an article, and especially on your mobile device, right? I'm looking at both my mobile. Ooh, that's a nice motorcycle. Let's listen to this roar out of here for a second. And so when you go to my site, it's super clean because it's not cluttered up with a bunch of garbage, with a bunch of people, with other advertisers trying to get on there, which is fine, I suppose. And I guess everybody's used to it because that's how they're earning some money, I guess, by letting people put links and banners and all this stuff on their site. But I'm going to click on that last one I just did that says set a workable budget, and it goes to the balance. So how to make a personal budget in 6 easy steps. And then just directly on the side, immediately, there's something that says advertisement. And so on their sidebar, there's advertisement. And then there's another advertisement. And then there's another advertisement. As you scroll down, there's advertisements on the side. Now, this one is not so bad as a lot of them that I've seen. But right at the top of the page, though, there's a huge banner for 2022 vehicle. And I'm not going to say what the vehicle is now, but I'm not trying to promote them. Welcome to the room. Let's see, we got...
See, what it is, Hakeem, is that ads must take up 75% of our visual perception of the screen, that they can flood us with ads more than information. So, yeah. Right?
Yeah,
it's like, how many ads can we have on the screen until we induce seizures?
Dude, it's so crazy. Welcome, Bree Hurtnett, Para or Normal. I really like that name, Para or Normal. I do a lot of paranormal stuff. I want to connect with you guys. Para or Normal. I have my website, UniquilibriuM.com. It goes into a lot of paranormal stuff. And it's part of my science fiction, the UniquilibriuM SFD, the science fiction division. But a lot of that stuff is not, in my mind, is not science fiction. Welcome, Golden Fritz Ngarzemo. Is it Ngarzemo or Ngarzemo? Let me know. Dan, welcome. Gregory Landsman, Ebony Dubois, SL, Suzanne, Lay and Kevin, Charles Graham, Deidre Sharps, and Robin Black. I like that name, Robin Black. And every time somebody has the last name Black, it's just so cool, like Jack Black. I really like that. I can't remember the last person's name who I knew that had the last name Black, but it's just I don't know, it's just a cool name. I just think that somebody has the last name Black is cool.
Goku Black.
What's that? Who is
it? I said Goku Black. I know it's over your head. Other people will get it, and they might chuckle.
Come on, it's not over my head. Just because I'm 12 years your senior doesn't mean I don't know a little bit about some cool anime, son. Welcome, Bhupinder and Brianna. So there's just a few things also. So one, you can hack and get have an authority site much sooner than I did by doing other things, which are just simply getting other authority sites to link back to yours. It's called authority backlinking. So again, if some of you guys had some really good content that you wanted to get out there, and have it posted on an authority site, which is one of mine, exercisingyourmind.com, then you can contribute content. If you look at the very generic format that my authors are using, that is a template that you could use yourself. You can provide like a free image, which all of these authors use from sites like Pexels. And we always give the attribution either at the beginning or the end of where the image comes from. For example, this says header image via pexels. When you link on it, it'll go to the photographer who created the image. And I always give, even though the authors don't need it, because they're all about stuffing those links out to the different places that they're helping to promote whoever their clients are. For example, I clicked on the link that says affiliate marketing, and it went to a Shopify.com website. You guys are probably already familiar with Shopify, but this is, believe it or not, this is one of the ways that they use a little guy like me to get more attention to the sites, because I have an authority site that's been on there for a long time. I just clicked on another link on the page that said drop shipping, and it goes to Oberlo. I've never heard of Oberlo. They have a YouTube video embedded in their thing, and then ads. Shopify's on there. It's probably just because I went to a Shopify site. Oh my gosh, it's so that the banner ads are stuffed into this, in between the content here. Now, if I ever do any kind of ads or promotions in my stuff, I just say it directly, or I write it, or I also put what's known as native ads. And a native ad is simply a hyperlink that has text that just says what it's linking out to on your site, out to the other site. So, for example, somebody, they're kind of doing that in this. My authors do that in the article, but they're not doing it outside of the text. They're actually creating these links as part of the actual text of where they're teaching and giving these tips. So if you're just joining, I encourage you can go to exercisingyourmind.com. I'm looking at one of my contributors' articles, the most recent one from August 22nd, 2022. It's called 6 Helpful Tips to Help You Survive and Thrive During a Recession. So that might be also something, again, that you can share out to anybody who might find that useful. I think almost everybody who is not in that so-called top 1% who recessions and things like that do not affect. So you could definitely share this article out to anybody. Like, again, it doesn't have anything salesy in it. It's just 6 tips to help you survive and thrive during a recession. And but you can follow along to what I'm talking about here, so you can actually see for yourself what's going on if you have the device capabilities to do that. Welcome, Reggie, Jesse, Shah. And so we're talking about how to get authors to beg you to write content for you for free. Now, I already gave that out really quick, but let me just sum it up here. Yeah, number one, you have to have an authority website. That means that there's a lot of marketers and PR people and writers and people who've been hired by different organizations who have a digital online presence. And they hire people to do things like create these articles, to put these links in there, and so that it links out from an authority site, so that it brings up their search engine optimization, so that they show up more in the search engine for the topics at hand. But it also works in reverse, because of the fact that my site is linking out to these authority sites with great advice and with great content. It also helps my site as well. So having an authority site, and one of the ways that I've done that, and pretty much the only way that I've done it, was I bought a domain and I started putting content on it, useful content that was interesting to me and that wasn't spammy or crazy or porny or any of that stuff like that. And so I put it, I just kept on posting content on there without any ask from anybody except, hey, go check out the resources on my site. You might find something useful. And I would share links with people through email and through other ways if they asked me about something. And I would say, hey, I just posted something about that. Or, yes, I learned about this mercury amalgam movement from, Mercury Free Dentistry Organization. Or I got this email from NASA and they're looking for this kind of thing. And so I would just continue posting. Now, the other way to get an authority site is to have sites like mine linking back to yours. That's what these authors are doing. So there's a bunch of lessons right here on just this one piece. Is you can
use my site as an example, a specimen.
Right, and that's another thing that I was going to go into as well. So I'm helping Chris with his online presence. He hasn't had any websites before, and now I'm not a web developer, like high super tech guy who builds like super fancy websites. I use a very basic WordPress backbone. When you look at my site, it'll just be a blank white screen. It's just black and white, like a newspaper. It's real simple. Everything's in squares and rectangles, and it's really easy to access. And I keep very simple things, like there's a calendar on the side, and then there's a list of all the months throughout the years. It goes all the way back to 2007 since I've been publishing on there. So you can click on any one of those and just kind of look at the crazy stuff that I've been publishing over the years. Just as an example, the very first thing that I published on July of 2007 was an article that says UCLA pulmonologist Donald Tashkin on marijuana and lung cancer. And it's got some quotes in there, and the YouTube video is still up from Dr. Donald Tashkin, Cannabis Lung Cancer Study, Part 1 of 2. And I think, oh yeah, I have both of the YouTube videos embedded in that. So that's how I started. I started big, right? Found some research from a UCLA pulmonologist, which a lot of people would think, you know, according to the hypnotic modalities, the three hypnotic modalities, the first one is one-upsmanship or authority. And most people think that doctors have authority, and he's a pulmonologist, which is a specialty, which gives him a higher authority in people's eyes. And then he's a UCLA pulmonologist. And so that's even more authority on there. And he's talking about marijuana, which was huge in 2007, especially in California, where their marijuana laws have become really lax, and you could just walk in there and just buy weed wherever you want in all of its different forms. So my point is, I started big, and I just kept on going with stuff that was interesting to me. At the time, I was working with a guy who had a company, who's still a friend of mine. He just called me not too long ago, actually the other day, while Chris Cavallo and I were actually sitting outside this very same Starbucks. And I'm not promoting Starbucks, guys. I have a love-hate relationship with them, and you guys probably all have the similar. But yes, let me go, since I'm talking about Chris right now, and my friend John, Fat Nugs, right? So I was helping him with his company, Fat Nugs, and that's why I was doing a lot of this stuff, the research with marijuana, and plus it was also very beneficially therapeutic for me myself. But using Chris's sites, both of the sites, CavalloCreations.com, and Creations is spelled with a Z. Chris is a amazing driver. I say he's a race car driver. He drives a car that's basically a race car. It's it's okay. I can talk about it. Yeah, it's a 370Z, a Nissan 370Z. It's a nice little vehicle. He doesn't say it's fast, but it is fast. It handles really well on the road. But the thing is that when I first started building the sites for him, I didn't suggest for him to get SSL certificates. And we got into a little bit of a scuffle about it. But I, at the time, didn't think that he needed them just yet. He probably will soon, especially when more people want to look at his site and start giving donations for his initiatives, like the Veterans Club Racing Association. Go ahead, Chris.
Say correct, because I have a background, like I understand coding and backend stuff, a lot of HTML, but I have no idea, or I had no idea what the new front end of the house of web developing is, and I've never ran my own website, and so yeah, it was all new to me. And Hakeem's been great for that. So, please continue.
Yeah, and so and he's correct. You should get SSL certificates if you can for your site. Sometimes GoDaddy gives some of them for free, depending on what services you have. And I don't know if you guys have websites or if you're using any hosting and servers and stuff like that. But a lot of times that stuff is ignored by Google, and they only say that without the SSL certificates because they say it's not encrypted. But if you look closer, a lot of sites, especially if you link out from GoDaddy, they are encrypted. Not a lot of people can hack in, and your information is actually pretty secure. And Google even helps with that on the back end when your site is linked out to from an authority site. I have a lot of documentation on that. Actually, I need to publish all that stuff so people can see all the resources of where I'm getting my information from. But one time, Chris, from his mobile device, attempted to access one of his sites, like I said, from his mobile device, and it came up with an error. It's like, this site is not safe. Or if you tried to click away from it from like Facebook, for example, or something else, it would say, are you sure the site is not safe or whatever? But after I started linking out to it for a while, then the algorithm updated, and now it lists his site as safe because I link out to his site from one or more of my own that are considered to be an authority site. Let's see who else is in the room here. I think I already said, let's see. Ishmael, welcome. John Bush, Roy, Shamariyahu, Bree, Cecilia Grace, Noble Ron. I just love that name. Alejandro Ramirez, and Noble Ron was on earlier. We were both listening to Graciela Moore's mental health check-in earlier on Twitter Spaces, which I just started a Twitter space. I'm just loving these social podcasting sites, and they're all different ways. They're all different ways to get some cool stuff out there. Alejandro Ramirez, Christopher John Martins, Mike Brown, Eli or Ellie, and Love Lisa podcast. Welcome everybody. But yes, so after I linked out to his sites, then they started showing up more easily and being more easily accessible from more established sites like Facebook and LinkedIn and all that other stuff like that. Now, you guys could also test that and check for yourselves so you can see, but you'll see that my website, exercisingyourmind.com, and several other sites, they open up right away. There's no issues with them. If you type in UniquilibriuM on a search engine, because it's such a unique word, all kinds of things show up and go directly to all my stuff. So those are all other things too that you can put in there that you can use as a reference. Having unique names or highly valued website domain names, or even short ones, which is another thing that works for me with my new site, HAKEYM. What I also did, there's a setting that you can adjust where you can have as little tags on the end of your blog post as possible. What I'm talking about is that there are a lot of short link creators that will create short links for your podcast or blog post. Because when you write a blog post, usually like this one I'm looking at called The Kansas Machine, a Cancer Cure from Mercola.com, which is like the second thing that was published on May. Wow, did it take until 2008 until I published something else on that site? Really? Wow, July 2007, and it took from May 2008 before I published anything else on exercisingyourmind.com. I wonder what happened. I think I was focusing on hypnoathletics.com. But anyway, so...
Hey, man, I got to bop off real quick, go take care of this whole thing. I'm talking with Matt. His last name's Eagle, so sounds pretty cool. Fly high like an eagle. Guess he was a baseball guy for the Angels. He called me last night. He was like, "Hey, are you open?" He gave me like the whole, like pyramid networking kind of scheme. Like, are you open to having a second, stream of income? So I'm gonna go talk to him and get some networking done and try to help some vets, man.
That's hilarious. I know who Matt Teagle is. I don't know him personally, but he does this.
Right.
Anyway, let me know how that goes, Chris. We'll talk later.
All right, sir.
My brother. Take care.
Later.
So back to this again. Get authors to beg you to write content for you for free. And we're talking about basically having authority websites and how to get that. Either having a site on the website, on the internet for a long time that does not link out to any questionable other sites. And it's also always when anything is searched online on any search engine and your site comes up, and when somebody clicks on that link to go to your site for the information they want, it better be what they're looking for. Either that or it's outdated and they can't get anything, or the page is missing, is actually much better than having something show up on there that's questionable. So again, if you're an editor, even if you don't have enough time, you better make the time to vet every single link and every single post that anybody sends you for anything, because you don't want to get caught by having your site link out to something that is going to get you into internet trouble. JP Not Morgan, Lumo the Great, Lumo the Great, the Southern Spectre podcast, Kiana Light, Kristen Brown, Jesse Shaw, Tina Mason and Laura, what is that? Tina Mason and Laura Schmidt. It was cut off here and I was like, I have to click on you. 5-star podcaster, influencer, chosen one. You guys have some very wonderfully creative names. And Reggie Woodson, Mr. The Wood. All right. Let's see. Hakeem gets lost every once in a while. But so yes, you can either create an authority website by having it online for a long time and always having great information or you can get people to link to your site from theirs. So that's another tip right there. If you have several websites that may or may not be authority sites linking to your site, that's another way to claim an authority site, to have people pointing to you and saying, hey, go here, check out this information. So it's another, like a referral thing, like affiliates, right? People saying, hey, this site is trustworthy, go here and check out this information. And it also works, interestingly enough, from other online things that, so if you have a bunch of Facebook friends or Instagram or other people, and they link or they post a link on their pages or whatever social media they're using, TikTok or whatever, that links to your site for information, and they're saying, hey, check this out, that works too. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do it. And also, unfortunately, a lot of people don't pay any attention or take action on anything you ask them to do either, even on a space like this. You could ask somebody, for example, you could say, hey, go to my Instagram and click on a certain thing and like it and help me support by getting my algorithms out there. And not a single person will respond. And so this is, if you feel like nobody is paying attention, this is something that you have to do for yourself, which is something also I was going to get into about, and I didn't finish the idea, I think because Chris popped in or just because I'm a scatterbrain, but about one thing that people look at is they look at engagement, and there's different metrics that you should be looking at or things that you can measure of what it means to your business. Some people just want awareness, some people just want engagement, but some people want other actions, like to watch a video, or other people want conversions, like for people to buy something, right? So those are all different things. So it depends on what you want. My site is very good at getting traffic and some engagement, but it's mostly traffic. And I do want to reference one of the podcasting services, that the main podcasting service that I use that I pay for. It's called Spreaker, spelled Spreaker, Spreaker. And if you want to, you can use my affiliate link from theirs. If you go to hypnoathletics.com, that's the word hypno, like hypnosis, followed by the word athletics, all one word. And there's a link on there that says start a podcast, and you'll see my Spreaker link on there. But one of the things about them is that you'll see very low engagement across all of their social media and other online presence. For example, on Twitter, I'm one of the only people who ever interacts with their stuff on Twitter because I really am a fan of their podcasting software. For one reason is because they've helped me to monetize more quickly and more fully than any other service has. I tried Anchor, I tried several other things, and it's just really slow. Spreaker has an ad exchange program that is phenomenal. The more traffic I get, the more money I make, and it's paying for itself now. And it's only for me. I pay for something called Anchorman, which is like $50 a month. But the listens, the ad exchange is now starting to pay for itself, which is good, and sometimes partially because I haven't been paying that much attention to it, and I have not been posting as many things on there as I used to. But that's one way that I actually create a lot of things. Like, for example, here on Wisdom, one of the things I do to leverage the content here is, even if it's a bad recording, like my very first recording, and probably even this one, because there's a lot of bugs in Wisdom, but I really love it. My first recording is horrible for like the first 20, 30 minutes, but then it gets in and there's some really juicy content in it. So I didn't bother editing it. I just put it up, and I embedded it, an image, and posted it on one of my sites. I think it was the HAKEYM.com site, and just left it there because it's content. And if people were sitting on there for 3 hours listening, whether it was in the background or if they were really learning something or not, I don't know. But that's another way. Who's in here? Brandy Singleton, Melanie Hope, Gregory Landsman, Christopher John Martins, and Turnica Feast. So that's another thing that I do. Anytime I post on Spreaker, I also put links back to my own websites. I link everything to each other. There's a big circle link going on here. Like if you link out to from one of my websites and you find Spreaker, or even here on Wisdom, somewhere or another, you're going to find a link somewhere that goes right back to where you came from, or one of my internet properties. So always make sure to even link back to yourself, no matter what you do. Link to yourself, link out, link to your properties, link your social media to your website, link your website to your social media, and always linking to all the relevant stuff. And so, but back to Spreaker, they do not have a lot of engagement, but Spreaker's making money, right? If just one, like if just 10 people, were paying for like one of their services, they're already making like $120 for their like lowest service. I think it's like $12 or maybe 9. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a software company, and of course, there takes some money to get it up and running, and there's a lot of storage and a lot of stuff they're dealing with. But their engagement, the people who like and comment and share their stuff online, you would think, how are they making any money? If you thought that that's what those metrics mean, if you thought those metrics of that kind of engagement meant anything, you would be confused by looking at that. And it's the same thing when you look at my social media, especially my YouTube. That's one that I look at, and I'm just so surprised because, for example, my podcast on Spreaker has over 100,000 downloads, like 150,000 downloads. And that's not including the streams, because a lot of people stream instead of downloading. And but that doesn't show up on YouTube. It just shows up in my back office of Spreaker of how many downloads I'm getting and how many per week and all that stuff like that. And so I was up to 3,000 a week at one time. I'm half that right now, but I'm going to start pushing into that again because it's a very good resource. And also I've realized it's making me some money that's very helpful for me to continue my adventures of helping people, which is what I like to call it. The adventures of helping people. The adventures of helping people. So that's So one of the things, if you're looking at metrics, you shouldn't really look at that kind of stuff about who's engaging and who's saying what, because it actually doesn't matter as much of what's happening on traffic. Like if you have something, a site like Spreaker, and you want people to listen, that's an action. So that's another metric, is how many downloads and how many plays and those kind of things, like on videos or podcasts and things like that, are what you want to see. If you have something like an ad exchange system set up that pays you for the amount of downloads and or streams and things like that. So that is a little bit off of what I was talking about, but I just wanted to get into that because people sometimes look at different things like that and get discouraged. Why are people not commenting? Why are people not liking? Why are people not sharing? And this is outside of your website, of course, that I'm talking about. I post a lot of things from my websites, and I talk about things here on Callin and now on the Twitter space and on Spreaker. And there's the only person who engages my Spreaker content is me with comments or shares and things like that. But it's earning me money. So, and it's the same thing with my website. You're not going to see a whole lot of people engaging with my stuff all the time, but that says nothing about how it's benefiting me financially and supporting my organization, which is just something I need just to keep the lights on, as they see, right? The doors open. So that is it. I'm going to recap some of the things I said earlier, just so you know how to get authors to beg you to write content for you for free, whether it be on your site or whether it be about your site or about your services. See, another way is that you could have people writing about you and your services and linking to stuff, which is really called public relations, right? PR, when people are giving you a shout out. Like, you ever seen an article in a magazine about a band, and they're like, oh, we just went to this show and it was such a great show from whoever, from Acrimonium, what a great death metal band and whatever. And so that's PR, right? So people doing that. But recapping on how to get authors to beg you to write content for your site for free. The main idea is for you to establish and have an authority site. And what does that mean, to have an authority site? Well, one, like me, you could either have your sites online for 15 or 16 years, right? That's one way. and always have it be a clean site, meaning that there's no spam, no porn, no and no other questionable things that your sites are linking out to. So that's number one, an authority site that's reliable, a reliable authority site that basically delivers what it says it's going to deliver, and it's been there for a long time. I know that's just crazy, right? It just for the fact that it's been there gives it authority. And then, of course, your authority can be taken away, right, if your site goes out to questionable things. Now, however, there are a lot of sites that some people would say are questionable, like pornography sites that are heavily trafficked, I'm sure. But and a lot of people put advertisements and stuff on there, but that's probably related to that whole sex industry, right? So those are different. When I say questionable, those are some of the kind of things that I'm referring to, but they're not questionable to a lot of people. A lot of people get a lot of pleasure and joy out of those kind of things. So, this is not like a judgment against, I'm just talking about what Google, and Facebook and other things would consider, and other search engines would consider to be authority. And I'm not sure what those things show up on in search engine. I've never searched for those before, so I don't know. It would probably be good for me to look at some research on that. But like, for example, I don't always agree with what Google thinks is authority. I mean, I didn't have to, I don't think, but I deleted or took down a bunch of videos off of my site, off of one of my YouTube channels, because one of them got taken down because it was covering something about COVID-19, and they said it was medical misinformation. So yeah, about that. Welcome, Nate. Welcome, Lee Vlogs and Deborah Barsha. So the second thing, besides having an authority site, and one of the other ways you can get that is by having other authority sites. If yours is not an authority site, not established, having them link back to you because they feel like you have relevant, useful, valuable content, and so they write a piece about you and they link back to it. Right. So that's the other thing. The next way to create an authority site is to continue to have your social media linking back to it. So for example, you write an article or a blog. I'm sure that you already do this, right? But just make sure that you are posting that content on your social media, and then also putting other links back to the site and referencing it often to people. And also don't, well, actually, I don't like to say don't forget, but I'd like to say is remember to share it offline too. Tell people, text them about it. Hey, look, I wrote this. Will you check it out for me? You got to be your own shameless self-promoter sometimes with these things. Again, another offer, because I'm always looking for content. If you want to have your sites linked out to get a little bit more attention to and awareness to something that you're doing, you can always write me at hakeem@hypnoathletics.com or hack@uniquilibrium.com. And I will review your submissions. And again, if you want to take a look at any best practices and how to do that, just check out exercisingyourmind.com, and you're going to see a lot of examples starting from about 2018 and moving forward because of all the authors that have been writing for my site. Let me go back there home. And so you'll see that they just provide an image. They write a very clean, simple article that has some basic information and tips, and that's it. And I read through it, I check their links, and I publish it. So anything you want to promote, I'd like to see if I can help. Because even doing that stuff gives my site content, useful content in the subjects of wealth attraction research, because I believe that great health is the truest of all wealth. And so, and if you have something along those lines, I would love to read it and check it out. So that's one of the things too you can get. Once your site starts being indexed as an authority site, these different kind of marketers and people who are writing content will start to seek you out and send you wonderful emails. Let me read, for example, just one of the emails. So you'll see how they come to you. It's really, really fascinating. When they first started happening, I thought, I was like, what the heck is going on here? Why are these people coming at me like this? And I didn't know what it was for a while, but because I always wanted content on my site, I didn't question it. I just checked them out and made sure that there wasn't anything crazy on it. So The first, I'm just going to reference this one author, Emma Grace Brown, from emmagracebrown.com. The first time she wrote to me was on May 25th. And she says, "Hello, may I write an article for your website that offers guidance to business leaders on how to promote collaboration in their companies? If you're interested, I'll get to work on the article. I appreciate you taking the time to review my request." Now, I'm sure that this article that she had was written in advance, because they come out with this stuff really quickly. And sometimes I tend to think that they write stuff so fast, and their websites are also similar, that I feel like that I'm dealing with a bunch of bots, like robots, but they're like the best bots in the business, because they're providing me with amazing content. But these bots or people are finding me, because I've never spoken to a single one of them on the phone. We just have these back and forth email conversations. The second thing she wrote to, because I got back to her, she says, "Thanks for getting back to me and for the consideration, Hakeem. I was hoping it would be something that you consider posting on HakeemAlexander.com, if that's okay with you. Let me know if you have any suggestions." And it goes on and on. She gave me some articles. I read it. But that's how those those go. They just come with a very simple pitch. Some of them have more creative pitches that, like, when I look at it at first, I'm thinking to myself, what is this? Like, some people are really good at this whole ad copy and email title marketing to get your attention. But hers is just pretty simple. And I start to look out for those things now. And they'll start to look you up and ask you to, and really simple, very simply, if they could post stuff on your site. And then they send it to you. Usually the ones I've been getting have all been Word documents to my email that I then easily, here come the sirens. We're gonna take a moment of sirens. When you podcast outside, every once in a while you might have to take a moment of sirens. Some people take a moment of silence. I'm taking a moment of sirens. I just made that up, by the way. Aren't I clever? Marcella, welcome. But that's it. I don't really have much to say more about the authority site linking. Again, I'm going to recap. Have a site that's reliable and has been on the internet for a long time. If it hasn't been on the internet for a long time, meaning like 10 to 20 years, then you have sites like mine link out to yours by either contributing content to it and having me edit and publish it on my site, or I could accidentally discover how awesome your content is and decide to write up about it. I've done that on other sites of mine where I find, but usually I've been doing it for friends of mine. Like, I have musician friends, and if they do something cool or something that sticks out to me, I'll write something up about it and put it on one of my websites, and then I'll share it with them, and they'll be all happy, like, "Oh my gosh, look, Hakeem just wrote this article about it. It's so great. Thanks, Hakeem." And then they put it out there. But it was simple for me to do. It just took a little bit of time, but people are appreciative when you give them a shout out, and especially when you put it in a neat looking package that you can create online with these great templates and drag and drop software that you'll get, for example, from WordPress. All right. Now, I'm going to ramble on for a few more moments here about, I'm going to get some notes together, because I'm going to actually turn this into a more succinct course, because I was just kind of going along here when this author popped in and submitted another article for me to post. I'm going to take a time check right here. It's 8:25 in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time. It's going to probably take me only a few minutes to open up that email, download that WordPress article, copy and paste all the content from it into my WordPress software here through GoDaddy, create the title, download the photo, and upload it to GoDaddy, and then publish it. It usually takes me no longer than 10 minutes to read the article, check the links, put up the art, and then post it on my site, because I have full control over the site myself. That's another thing. See, that's why I'm gonna turn this into a little mini course. That's another thing, because I control all access to my websites and everything myself. Welcome to the room, Kimberly. A lot of people do not control. A lot of people are hiring web developers and these webmasters to run your sites for you. And you don't. And when you have something coming up that's urgent that you want to post right away, you can't, because you have to send an email and ask them and do this, and they might have a whole roster full of clients. So I learned just some really basic stuff on how to work WordPress through the GoDaddy software, through the GoDaddy back office and all that, in order to get my stuff online. I do take clients on every once in a while, like for example, my friend Chris, who was on here talking for a while, but but it's not that often because it takes a lot of work to manage people's sites. What I usually do is train people on how to use the software and what they need to get in order for them to be a quick blogging machine like I am, and how to post content and how to do little hacks like use snipping tools and how to use Canva, even free Canva stuff, for example, and Canva designs, and just how to hack different software and patch different things together to get the best results that you want out of your content. So what is that thing I was just talking about? Yeah. So that's another thing. So yeah, I got to make a list of all these things because there's a lot of cool little best practices and little details that I'm just kind of figuring out as I go along. Because a lot of this stuff sort of happened by accident. I mean, these authors, it's amazing how just blessed I am in so many ways. Because when these authors started writing for me, so I've been dealing with a lot of grief and just general melancholy, despair. And I say general, but it's centered around a specific thing. I'm going to take an actual moment of silence for a moment. So, hold on. I just So I've been dealing with a lot of stuff for a while, and my point is that these authors have kind of been like angels. They've saved me because I could not think straight to post anything at all for a while, and they just kept the stuff coming, and it would be so easy. I would be in like some kind of vodka fueled rage, just half sleeping, can't move, and contemplating all kinds of ways to just leave the world. And I'd get an email, and it would be about some great little thing to write on one of my sites, and I would just say, okay, I'm gonna look through it, copy paste, put the photo, put it up there on the site, and get it done. And they were always thankful. Thanks so much. So I don't think they even cared how like you should have seen my site before these authors started writing. Actually, the look and feel of all my websites has become pretty homogenous because of these authors contributing, because I wanted to have a great presentation because I felt like they were giving me really great content, and I don't want to present the great content they were giving me on a sloppy looking site. And my sites were horrid looking. They were just filled with all different kind of colored text, and like it was out of control. It really looked like a crazy person was running a bunch of websites somehow. And I'm not talking about like I'm not talking about Alex Jones crazy, but it was nuts. It was my websites were an abstract artist dream. It was like I don't know. It was nuts. It looks nothing like they do now, but because I wanted to have a good presentation for these authors, I changed the look and feel of all my sites so that it was really presentable from the publish on. And I figured simpler was better. So instead of me trying to have all the flashy bells and whistles because I'm doing it on my own, I just opted for one of the simplest themes that WordPress has to offer. And I did say this before, the one that I use, the WordPress backbone that I'm using is called Polite. It's called Polite Blog. And it is very polite. It's exquisitely polite. It's very elegant. It's very simple. It's so easy. And I love it because it's perfect for the kind of content that these authors are providing. And so because they were providing this great content, that helped me to change how I presented my websites. And now I just keep getting them like every other day now. I mean, they're coming in to my sites. These authors are publishing great content just by the bucket loads over and over and over again. So, but that's it. I mean, some people have said content is king. I would agree. The content that I've been creating is simply just the fact that if you know anything about social media, LinkedIn, not so much, but if you look at Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, they always recommend posting frequently, right? Well, that's another thing that these algorithms love. They love constantly new content. And so if you're always creating something, like for example, this talk, and what I do is I finish this talk, and then I'll do let me do a screenshot right now, actually. I'm gonna do a screenshot, make a screenshot. And then I'll take that screenshot and I'll use that as a piece of art, just an image that I'll put into a blog post with a little description about what I talked about. And I'll do it while I'm listening back to this talk so that I can get and pick ideas out of it and kind of fill some of the empty space with it. But don't get caught up in trying to be over content producing. Don't try to overproduce content. You don't need to have a lot of words. If you ever look at some posts now, they tell you the time, right? It says 1 minute read. A lot of times if you set some of your settings to that, it'll show people it's a 1 minute read, or some of it'll show it's an hour long read, right? One of the things I've been doing is one app called Callin generates a transcript, and I'll just simply copy and paste that transcript into the end of some of the blogs that I link to them, to one of my particular talks to. And it'll be a kind of a mess. Sometimes the transcription, because it's an AI, it's artificial intelligence transcribing based off of my voice, right? But it's good enough for people to follow along with if they don't want to listen to the whole thing, or while they're listening along, they can reference a certain part of it. And so what I'll do is just like I just now took a screenshot. I'll put that into the blog post, and I may even hyperlink the image to go out to this actual talk here on wisdom, which if you've done that before, you'll see that when you click on it, the link goes to a very generic page for wisdom, and there's a very tiny little play button on there because it's not optimized for, for a laptop or desktop, and it'll prompt you to download it from Google, from whatever your app store is, to get the full experience, which is kind of cool in some ways, but I still use it anyway. It makes people have to click a little bit more. But again, I'm not necessarily doing it because I think that people are going to come and click and look at all the content. The fact that the content is there, and that if somebody actually does click on it, they're going to get what they were looking for. And that's all that you can ask, that you can promise, is you can say, I'm making this. You may not be happy with what I made, but I made it. And it's exactly what you thought it was going to be. So, is something crawling on me? Good Lord. Lovely spiders. I love spiders. I just flicked them off onto the ground. There you go. Walk away, wonderful spider. I love spiders. Some people don't. So, I lost my train of thought. The Phantom of the Opera is here. Yes, I was just giving some tips about repurposing content, off on a little tangent. But I link everything back and make sure that that people are able to access your information and find it easily. Now, you don't have to pay for anything to do this. You don't have to go through GoDaddy. You don't have to buy any WordPress things. You can even start free sites and do this. But the fact of the matter is, the algorithms love fresh content. So as long as you're putting out content, and you can, like I said, you can take something like this talk, you can copy and paste a screenshot from your mobile device, send that over to your laptop, and upload it into your WordPress site. Write a little bit of text around it about what the talk is, and say, okay, you want to hear more? Click on this link, and it'll take you there, and you just press play, and then you listen to it, and that's it. And you keep doing that over and over and over again. You'll build up a library of content on your blog site that people will see, oh, there's a bunch of stuff here instead of just crickets, right? They'll see that people want to see, just like the algorithms and the different social media tells you, that you should be posting frequently. But, I wouldn't say just try to make anything up. Like, all the stuff that I was doing were all things that were interesting to me. So I was on a frenzy of creation and posting content because I was just basically posting things that I was already interested in. And that was before I was posting out to other people's content. Now I post a bunch of my own content and stuff that I create myself, because it's very simple to make a talk, a recording, and to put some artwork with it. You can make a video out of it. You could, with just some still images and some text on the screen, right? You can even have, there's so many ways to repurpose content, and so many ways to make content. And then Finally, what I would like to say is that I am going to turn this actually into a little course and make it more digestible for those of you who took the time out to sit and listen to this. If you want some more tips, and I'm not exactly sure when I'm gonna get to that because I have so much stuff to post, and I got other things to do, like go to the gym and take long walks because my bicycle's broken right now. But yeah, so we're gonna make that into a course. And the simple takeaway here, though, is to create an authority site. And you can create an authority site by just generating a lot of really great content and having other sites and other people linking back to you from their social media and or from their websites and podcasts and other internet properties that they happen to be in control of for the time being. So that's it. I am going to post this new article from my contributor. It's going to be, let's see, we're going to do a time test on here. We're going to see how long it takes me to do that. If you guys want to call me out and see. So let's see. Where's her email? Where's her email? Oh, there we go. Emma Grace Brown. She sent it to me at 7:22 p.m. It is now 8:37, so that was an hour and 15 minutes ago or something like that, right? Now it's an hour and 16 minutes because my clock just hit 8:38 p.m. on Eastern Daylight Time. So let's just say from about 8:40, 8:45, from whenever I get off this talk here, I'm going to go ahead and post an article from Emma Grace Brown. So let me just take a look at it. It's called Best Practices to Follow When What? Okay, I don't see what the rest of it is, but that's what I'm going to post. So look out for that. And again, here's my offer. If anybody wants to work with me and contribute content to my site that links back to either your site or your talks or anything like that, please do. Someone who I've already been doing that with more recently, of course, you heard Chris come on here earlier, but I met on Wisdom and was impressed by Graciela Moore. And so I have been sharing her stuff on Twitter. And as I look more at the stuff that she's doing, I'm going to quote her and probably repurpose some of her content about that things that I've talked to her about or things that I've learned from her contributions, and it'll end up in some of my like news sites and things like that. Let's see, where are we here? We got Mojo, Lisa Piazza, Angel Hernandez, Celeste Atkins, Chris Johnson, Lazar Kivarev. Welcome everybody. Lazar, I like that name. Welcome everybody. Reminds me of Bob Lazar, the guy who claimed to have worked in Area 51. Pretty sure people have given you stuff about that already, if they're in the know. So yes, so I'm going to go ahead and publish this article called "Best Practices to Follow when Tracking the Performance of Your Business Website." Oh my gosh, did she really just write that for me? That is so crazy. I'm just talking. Oh my God, I'm just talking about tracking the performance of your business website. You know what I'm also doing, guys? I got a scholarship for Meta Elevate, the Meta Blueprint. I'm taking those courses: digital marketing associate, marketing sciences professional, media buying specialist, and all that stuff like that. And I'm learning a lot of really amazing things that are universally applicable across all social media, not just the meta technologies, people. That's what a lot of people think. And it's a way also for us to learn how to democratize and take a little bit of control over this metaverse and all these other virtual reality things that are about to take over. People, don't be scared of them. Embrace them cautiously. Learn how to hack into these systems and use them. And I'm learning all that stuff. Meta Blueprint. I'm not promoting them. I'm not a big fan of rah-rah. I'm not cheerleading them just yet, but I have found some pretty amazing things inside the Meta Elevate and the Meta Blueprint certification and other courses and offerings. So that stuff is pretty amazing. I did a little talk on that. I'll do some more. But you guys should really look into that, especially right now. They opened it only for the Black community. So I got a free scholarship because they opened it up to 100,000 people who identify as Black. That's the other caveat. That's the other little thing in the details there. And I'm impressed. I'm pretty impressed with the information. Like I said, it's universally applicable. It's not just, you know what? Well, I don't want to get into that right now. We'll talk about that later. So enough about the Meta Blueprint Facebook stuff. This was about get authors to beg you to write content for you for free. And some of them have literally kind of begged. They were like, "Hey, will you please let me write this for this site? Will you?" Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna wrap. Yes, I really am gonna go now, guys. I want to publish this article. It's 8:42, and so let's see, 8:42 Eastern Daylight Time. Let's see how long it takes me to get this post online on exercisingyourmind.com. And then if anybody wants to do some content sharing with me, or if you'd like me to review an article or some video or something that you have and maybe write an article from one of my sites, please let me know. Actually, as I'm looking at this content, she actually wrote it for HakeemAlexander.com. Let me check real quick. Where did she write it for? Yep, she wrote this for HakeemAlexander.com. So it's not going on exercisingyourmind.com. It's going on to HakeemAlexander.com. So if you want to check out where it's going to be, I know the link that I put in here is exercisingyourmind.com. But exercisingyourmind.com links back to HakeemAlexander.com. Both of those sites link back to each other because those are my two most popular sites, even though HakeemAlexander.com has only been online since 2018, right around the time when they started writing for me, by the way. So I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I'm going to post it because that's the site that she wants to write it on. So I'm not going to argue with them for whatever reason. She wants to write it for that site. So, and those are the two sites that I'm building up. So yeehaw. And this is just a great journey, guys. I'm going to pop back on here a little bit later and just talk some more because I'm going to be out for a while. Tonight, I'm in just one of those moods. And I got clients early in the morning. So that's 12 hours from now. My first client's going to be at 8:30 in the morning. This is so much fun. You guys have no idea. You guys have no idea how little and how much I actually have. And I'm just so excited and so happy and so full of joy in life right now. And if somebody were to look at certain specific details of my life, they would think, why, how, what are you so joyful about? And yesterday was Flora Elizabeth Carrasco's birthday, and she passed away 3 years ago. It's been really hard for me. But what I did to celebrate her life was I launched the World Reading Club, which I say that the World Reading Club is celebrating the joy of learning through the love of literacy, the joy of learning through the love of literacy. And the first book focus we're doing is on a book by a woman named Katya Davidova, which I've just met through LinkedIn and Instagram and stuff like that. And it's called Joy in Plain Sight. And it launched yesterday, August 23rd, 2022, which means get your copy of Joy in Plain Sight and read it. You got 60 days, and then you can join me here on Wisdom, Call-In, and Twitter Spaces. And I'm going to be doing talks and book discussions about all that on there. And here's another plug. If you guys don't already know Graciela Moore, she has a newsletter. She also does several shows that she does across the different spaces. And so you guys would do well to follow her offerings. Hello, Jason Tichepko. Welcome. So that's a plug right there. Graciela Moore. Hey, Chris is back. What's up, Chris? So, well, it's going to take me a little bit longer now. So it's 8:45 now. So we'll see how long it takes me to get this blog up there. What's up, my man, Chris? Let's chat for a little bit while I actually go try to get this article live online. Or you know what we could do, Chris? Let's start another room either here or on Call-In, whatever you prefer, and we can talk and hang out while I post this blog. But I'm going to do this right now. What do you think, Chris? Are you there? Can you hear me? You popped back on?
Oh yeah, I was putting my headphones in. Yeah, we can do whatever you like, sir. I'm here to help you, and you're here to help me, and we're here to help everybody else. We're hoping that all ships rise in the tide, and Hakeem has put some wind in my sails, and I've put some wind in his sails, and we want to put wind in your sails as well.
That's right, folks. So, Chris, here's what we're going to do. I would like to. I'm going to end this room, and then, let's talk. I'm going to call you on your phone, and then we'll set up another talk, and then we'll get back on here. All right. So let's do that. So everybody, thanks for listening to this podcast. Get authors to beg you to write content for you for free. The site that they're actually that this author is actually publishing on I'm going to change the site for you guys here in my, just because we were talking about exercisingyourmind.com, but she's posting this, I'm posting this for my author on HakeemAlexander.com. So I'm just putting that in the room now. So that'll be there. And then let's mark this time. It's 8:47. And I'm going to end this room now and get that article online as soon as I can. I got to check all those links and everything inside there, folks. So let's see how it is. And we're going to see, and then I'm going to get back online and we're going to talk about it. All right. Until next time, everybody, stay well. Did I miss anybody who came in the room? No, I think I said hello to everybody. So if I missed you, I'll catch you on the next wave. Stay well.